She grinned across the table, her hand stroking her belly like a trophy. "Still barren, huh?" Paisley purred, loud enough for the room to hear. Laughter bubbled from the women around her. My mother-in-law clasped Paisley's hand like she'd won a prize. "Paisley's giving us our first grandchild," she said, savoring the sting in her words. I smiled, just enough for them to think I was used to it, just enough to keep them blind. And then, like clockwork, he walked in, a man with a baby strapped to his chest. My man, my husband. "I'm Natalie's husband," he said, calm, sure. The room froze. Paisley gasped. My mother-in-law sat down hard, and I just fixed my hair. They never saw it coming. Back then, when I first married into their family, I thought I'd been chosen. A golden circle, Sunday dinners, family vacations, promises of a legacy. I was 24, eager, naive enough to think loyalty was sacred. Paisley was my sister-in-law, 2 years younger, sharp-tongued, restless. She called me sis like it meant something, like she welcomed me. I believed her. I believed all of them. My husband, Daniel, was gentle then. Or maybe he only pretended well. He'd run his thumb along my jaw, whisper promises of children, a home, forever. He looked at me like I was the sun. But suns burn, and I burned slow. The first crack. It began with a glance. At a barbecue, Paisley reached for the ketchup, and Daniel's eyes lingered, not on her hand, but on the curve of her waist. Subtle, but not subtle enough. Then came the missed calls, the late nights, his shirts smelling faintly of her perfume, the one she bragged about in the car, Gardenia Nights. The night I found her earring under our bed. Daniel swore I was imagining things, swore I was unraveling. His voice was sharp, his eyes sharper. "You're paranoid, Nat. Don't embarrass yourself." I didn't scream. I didn't throw him out. I smiled. I let him think he'd won. The shift. Something inside me cooled. Not broken, tempered. While they played their little game, I played mine. I documented everything. Every text, every call, every hotel receipt he thought he'd deleted. I kept my mask on, quiet, docile Natalie, while I built a case that could gut him clean. And Paisley? She thought she'd beaten me. She wore tighter dresses at family dinners, dropped hints about being so fertile, tossed me pitying looks like darts. She wanted me humiliated. She wanted the throne. Fine, I'd give her a stage. The moves. Step 1, the lawyer. Quietly, discreetly. A woman who smiled like she'd slit throats before breakfast. We crafted the divorce papers, lined up financials, secured assets Daniel didn't even know I knew about. Step 2, the husband. Not mine, the one Paisley didn't want anyone to know about. She'd married young, separated, but never filed. She told everyone he was gone, a mistake. But he wasn't gone. He was in another city, raising their son. I found him. I told him everything. Showed him the messages, the affair, the baby shower invitation she had dared to send me. His jaw clenched, his hand tightened on the stroller, and he said 6 words I'll never forget. She never filed the divorce papers. The child Paisley carried was my husband's, but legally, her husband's name would go on that birth certificate. Delicious symmetry. Step 3, timing. Everything had to happen at once. The reveal, the collapse, the humiliation. And I chose her baby shower, her coronation as the arena. The climax. So here we are. Balloons floated. Pink cupcakes lined the table. Paisley basked in attention, hand on her stomach like a queen awaiting tribute. She looked at me smug. "Still barren, huh?" I smiled, not because it hurt, but because the play had reached its final act. The door opened. Her husband walked in, baby strapped to his chest, eyes locked on her. "I'm Natalie's husband," he said, voice calm, steady. The room shattered. Whispers, gasps. Someone dropped a plate. Paisley's face drained, hand frozen on her belly. Her secret was no longer hers. Daniel tried to speak, but I silenced him with one look. My lawyer, already present, a family friend, slid the divorce papers onto the table, in front of everyone. He saw his signature at the bottom where he'd signed months ago without reading, thinking it was just refinancing paperwork. Every eye in that room turned on them, on the two who had mocked me, underestimated me, built their little kingdom of deceit, and watched it collapse in seconds. I didn't need to raise my voice, didn't need to gloat. I fixed my hair, adjusted my sleeve, and let silence choke them. Resolution. By the time the baby came, Daniel was gone. Paisley's husband had full custody of his firstborn, and the baby in her belly? Legally his too. Her first grandchild became a child bound to another man's name, another man's rights. My mother-in-law hasn't spoken to me since. While the world burns behind you.